So this episode of Unlighten Me, we're joined by Texas Viking strength man, Dustin Karnes. Hope you enjoy it. So this is my first in-studio live and otherwise guest. Strongman, Dustin Karnes. Thanks for coming out, man.
Not a problem.
For you guys that don't know, I want to welcome you guys to a show that I'm calling Unlighten Me, which basically is to give you the quick 2 cents. And then once I get about 100,000 followers, I'll get 3 cents. But the 2 cents is this: is that I've been in and around the world, seen about a million things. Well-educated, world champion, martial artist, world champion, natural bodybuilder. Developed a ton of programs, done a bunch of things, and for all sorts of reasons, I've had to keep my mouth shut for years. Contractual reasons, national security reasons, confidentiality reasons, and so on. So that's where the Unlighten Me comes.
Gotcha.
Is I'm not going to shut up anymore.
All right.
Is basically what it means. And that more often than not, I know what a lot of people are going to tell me. So that's where the Unlighten Me comes. Because if it was Enlighten Me, you'd be increasing my IQ and wisdom.
Right.
So Unlighten Me means that I'm expecting a lot of people, not the guests.
There you go.
But a lot of the people to give me some things that aren't necessarily going to increase my IQ or wisdom. So
All right.
draw your own conclusions there. So, man, so I haven't seen you in a little while.
Yeah.
This is new.
Yeah, I noticed that. I saw you got a new tattoo. So
Yeah,
what's this all about? Tell me about
this is the part 1 of 2 of the Life's Totem.
Okay.
So Wednesday I get part 2.
Gotcha.
And super long story short, what I was just saying is that since I can't say a lot, I went ahead and I've got to have some way to express it.
I gotcha.
So
you're gonna draw it
this
out.
is the expression of it. So
I like it, man. That's a nice tattoo. That's a really nice tattoo. Is
Yeah.
this all one session?
all one session, about 10 and a half hours.
Wow, man. More power to you.
Yeah, Richard De La Cruz was the artist here.
Okay.
And Kim Jung-us is the Korean artist that I had commissioned to do it for me.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, so
Well,
big
cool.
deal. But anyway, so that's new. What's new with you?
Not a whole lot, man. Well, I say not a whole lot, actually. Lots is new. So, as you obviously know, the gym that I was at changed hands.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, so been having some interesting things going on with that. And actually, I'm still recovering from an injury. You probably saw this
Yeah,
floating around Instagram.
shit.
So,
Well, I saw you getting it worked on.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
basically, there's another strongman who's over at Alpha Elite. I'm forgetting his name. I know that his name on Instagram is Broccoli Farts.
Okay, everyone. So broccoli farts.
Yeah.
Let's go say hi to him.
Yeah, so he's got some pretty intense stuff over there. He's got a 300-pound sandbag. He's got a really big. I think it's a 12-inch full log.
Oh, nice.
And I
Yeah.
got in, and usually his stuff is chained up. And I work with an 8-inch log, just a little guy that I got. You see me work with it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get some log work in, and he was there. His stuff wasn't chained up, and he was doing log. And I was like, hey, let me work in on that. Now, I've already been having some issues up in here with subscap connecting up into, the bottom of the delt. Just getting those presses up. Actually, you were there one time when I was having issues with
Before the contest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I used his log, and it was actually 50 pounds heavier than I thought it was. I thought it was a 50-pound log. It was a 100-pound log.
Nice.
So I thought I was working with 225. I was working with 255. And there's just different bracing that happens with those two different numbers. And I wasn't expecting it. Got the press up just fine. And then when I brought it back down, when you've got a smaller log, when you bring it back down from overhead, it just kind of falls right on your chest.
Yeah.
The bigger the log, the more outward you have to come. And
Right.
with that compromised position, as I came down, I felt and heard a tear or a crunch or something. And immediately just felt the shoulder kind of cave in a little bit, dropped the log, and I was in pain pretty quickly. Now, I'd already taken my pre-workout, so I wasn't going to waste the day. So
Exactly.
finished out
Wisdom 101, everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't follow my advice on that. But about 2 hours, finished up a leg day, went home, and I couldn't raise my arm really past about here without severe pain.
Yeah.
Now, this was only actually a week ago today. So very quickly, mobility came back. I've had this looked at and worked on 3 or 4 times this week.
Damn,
I'm really fortunate because they're saying that more than likely it's not a rotator cuff tear, it's not a labrum tear, it's none of that stuff. Probably just a sprain in the bicep tendon in the labrum, and the tearing that I heard was probably just soft and scar tissue because I had surgery up in here years ago, so that's what I was hearing. But yeah, just some bruising, but I've got full mobility back besides a little bit of popping.
Right. I've had that since I was like 16.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
And
popping,
again, this shoulder's always been weak. It's always had issues since surgery. So yeah. but I'm very fortunate. I was very pissed off at myself. I was like, I went too fast, I went too hard, went with unfamiliar equipment, but it could have ended a lot worse. So
Man.
yeah.
Yeah. So
I was
you're
happy
lucky.
with how that came.
Probably little micro tears. Because
Yes.
like Lance did with his hamstring.
Yes.
Had a little bit of bleeding, a little bit of pooling, all this kind of stuff, and then basically.
And then just right back
everything's
to
fine.
it. Yeah. I mean, I'm still going to get an MRI done.
be
My wife
smart.
made a good point. My deductible's covered on health insurance, so everything's 100% anyway. Just go get it done.
So
I spent
get
45 minutes in a machine. I watched an episode of Law and Order, and I move on with life. And so I'll just get the MRI.
Okay, so the interesting part. Okay, one of the main reasons. Well, one, you're opinionated, which I love, obviously. So that's one reason.
Right.
One of the other ones is you going through Hashimoto's disease and type 1 diabetes to accomplish what you're accomplishing. So sometimes people are going to say, "Oh, well, he's a strongman competition. What's his world ranking? Who gives a shit?"
I don't really care too much about that.
Right?
Yeah.
It's what you've overcome and what you're continuing to pursue and be successful at.
Right.
And I mean, I don't want to get into like the massive long dialogue because I'm going to interrupt you a lot while you're doing it to try to, because obviously the goal is to give some value to these guys.
Right.
Watching,
Gotcha.
But what is you were in a sad state of affairs before it all started.
Yes.
What was the trigger point, and what were the first couple of steps of I'm going to call it motivation.
Okay.
What was that? Yeah.
Well, I'm not all about motivation. I'm about dedication over motivation.
Right.
But
Which is why I hesitated.
Yeah. So but there's a saying that I use: motivation gets you off the couch, dedication keeps you there. But you need something to get you off the couch.
Yeah.
So I've been type 1 diabetic since the age of 12. Again, I'm not going to get into a huge long backstory, but when you're 12, you're angry, you're angsty already, you're a teenager, you don't want to deal with this stuff. Diabetic burnout for type 1 diabetics is a very real thing. And I want to clarify for anybody who's watching who might not know the difference between type 1 and type 2 diabetes.
Yeah.
Type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease. It is where your immune system kills off your pancreas, says, we don't need this crap anymore, just kills it off entirely.
It's not a good thing.
No, it's not. It's type 2 diabetes, not always, but tends to be you didn't take care of yourself for a long time. You ate really crappy. You didn't diet. You didn't exercise. So you tend to be 50, 60 years old when you get that. This is juvenile onset. There is no cure. There's just maintenance, and it is for the rest of my life. So I got burnout at a really young age. I just said, I'm not doing this crap anymore. I stopped taking my insulin. I've been through ups and downs. My weight before I got involved in all this has ranged from 328 pounds at 48% body fat to 198 pounds at 46% body fat.
Holy crap.
I remember when I went to go get it finally taken care of, I said, I've had enough of not taking care of myself. It was right after my son was born. My son is 4 now. And actually, no, it was after my youngest daughter was born, which she's 6. I said, I've had enough. I can't do this anymore. I'm dying. I'm killing myself by not taking my medication.
Yeah.
And I went in and I saw an endocrinologist. I just laid it out all on the table. And he said, I don't know how you're still alive, but if you don't take care of this now, you won't be in 4 to 6 weeks.
Shit, yeah.
You need to take care of this immediately. And I did. And I've tried a lot of stuff to keep maintenance at a reasonable level. I tried dieting. I tried keto. I tried basic exercise. I tried bodybuilding style stuff. Nothing really worked.
Yeah.
Nothing was giving me the results I wanted. Nothing was really helping with my actual taking care of my disease. But then I found strength sports.
Yeah.
Kind of on accident. I was at Planet Fitness, and obviously that's not a place for strength sports, right? Yeah, exactly. I've set off a couple lunk alarms in my time. But yeah, I mean, they didn't even have regular barbells. They just had a Smith machine for squats and stuff.
Well, yeah.
And I started working at squatting, and I got up to like a 300-pound squat, which at the time was like, oh yeah, that's amazing. That's
then they made you leave. And
they made me leave because they said, actually, no, they did. They said you're squatting too much weight. And I said, well, the Smith machine says it can take way more than this. They said, it's not about the machine. It's about you are lifting too much for the people that come here. You're intimidating them, and we don't have that kind of atmosphere here.
Yeah, wow.
And so I found Metroflex in Houston and never looked back. I went in, I canceled my contract with Planet Fitness and moved into strength sports, moved into strongman.
Yeah, that's good. So and this is, and obviously you guys, we're with Dustin Karnes, strongman. And then what's your Instagram handle?
TX Viking Strength.
Okay, TX Viking. I was gonna flip that. You're gonna be TX Strong Viking or some kind of crap.
Right.
And obviously I'm gonna tag all that stuff in there. But just you guys that are watching, Dustin is a strongman. He is actively competing, I guess, if you can say that, if you're in between, because you're not doing it
kind
right
of
now.
kind of in between competitions, right?
Right,
now,
but so you're active in it.
yes,
And overcoming, type 1 diabetes. Okay, you can't say overcoming.
you can't
Properly
really,
managing.
maintaining.
Yeah, properly maintaining and
Yeah.
managing to the point that, you had a successful contest. Was it 5-6 weeks ago? 7 weeks
Well,
ago?
it was about 7 weeks ago. We say successful in so much as I finished it.
You finished it, which was one of your
Exactly.
goals.
That was my goal. There were plenty of events that did not go how I wanted them to go. I ended up pulling dead last place in my weight class.
Yeah.
But you got to remember, I'm also in the highest weight class. I'm also in the super heavyweight pluses, and we're already pulling the heaviest stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of by default, you're already okay. You're doing better than these other guys. Whatever.
Exactly.
But
The placing is not important. What was important is you accomplished some of the goals you wanted to accomplish.
Yep.
You're strong as shit.
Yep.
And then no longer you 48% body fat.
No, I'm not.
Obviously, this is years into it or whatever. And it's 3 years, 4 years. How long have you been doing this?
Actually, not even quite 3 years. About 2.5 years that was the first time I picked up strongman equipment.
Yeah.
Really, only strength sports, really lifting at all for about 3 years.
Damn. So give me this. So at one of the things we talked about before the contest, and then we even played with some of your carbs and things for your blood sugar before that. But at the event, at the contest, where you're required to perform on a clock that you don't control.
Correct.
We obviously, we know there's going to be some issues with blood sugar and things like that. But anyone that deals with blood sugar issues, and you don't have to be diabetic, type 1 or type 2. There's other people that can deal with this, exercise and time and things of that nature. What happened? What did you start to feel, and then how did you? I know it's not fully correctable, but how did you maintain it, handle it? Yeah, come back from it.
So I've actually done 2 competitions. Houston Strongest was my second, and in both competitions, I'm now seeing a bit of a pattern. Basically, when you're preparing for a contest like this, prep starts days before, right? Yeah. You start with, I got to get my diet on point. I got to stop training at a certain point so that I'm peaking at that competition. So the day of, woke up super early. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning for a competition that started at 9. Everything was going smoothly. I've got a glucose monitor here on my left arm. So this thing connects up to my phone. It gives my blood sugar every 5 minutes. So I've got a constant view of what it is that my blood sugar is doing. What started to happen as the competition started approaching, about 8:30 in the morning, nerves start kicking in, right? And so one of the things that everybody's body does, when you get really nervous, when you get really excited, you get that fight or flight response. You get that adrenaline rush, right? This something big is about to happen and we need to compensate for it, right? So the way your body does that, one of the ways, is by obviously releasing adrenaline for moving fast and dumping all the glucose from your liver, right? Glucose is what makes my blood sugar go up.
Right.
The reason your body does that is, hey, we need to give him quick energy, quickly available in case he needs to get out of this situation, whatever it is. So I start seeing this steady climb of my blood sugar. Yeah. I start feeling kind of crappy. When your blood sugar goes high, your eyes get real red, bloodshot, you get very tired, you get dry mouth. Your muscles don't contract and expand the same way that they do otherwise. Yeah. Your body isn't able to utilize energy in the same way. So now I'm hitting, first event, and it's like my blood sugar's already starting to hit 170, 180. I'm already 60 points above where I'm supposed to be. And so I start trying to correct with my insulin pump that I have, which is right here, right now. And it's not doing anything. It's just continuing to climb, and there's nothing I can do about it, right?
Yeah.
So because I had foreseen this, because of my first competition, when it comes to insulin usage, you can do subcutaneous right into the skin. Problem is, that takes a while to absorb.
Exactly.
Or if you want to get really intense, you can do an intramuscular shot, which works right now. It bypasses the bloodstream entirely. So I brought one intramuscular syringe with me to that competition. I said, if it gets really bad, I'm just going to take something right in this. Yeah. And I did. And by the time the third of 5 events happened, it was finally starting to peak and then come back down.
Oh, man.
And that's when I finally started performing, was in the last 2 events. So it's frustrating to go through those competitions because I'm dealing with something during that competition that nobody else there is dealing with.
Exactly.
And the way it affects your strength especially is so insane. I mean, when my blood sugar is high, my lifts are 150, 200 pounds less than they are. I can deadlift 350 when my blood sugar's high. I can deadlift almost 600 when it's, on par.
So I'm going to ask a couple stupid questions.
Okay.
Right? Because these are questions that obviously people are going to come at you with. When you start to see that elevation, is there anything you can do? Can you burn it off with activity? Can you start slamming some simple sugars, trying to burn off the activity?
So the things that you can do in that time, one of the things I did do, which is intramuscular shots, just trying to get insulin rolling in there. The other thing that you can do, and this is the big reason that I do strongman in the first place.
Yeah.
I don't know how technical you want me to get with this answer when it comes to body science.
As much as you want, man.
Okay.
I mean, because we'll break it down to the genetic level if we need to.
Okay, so for a long time, strongman has been the only thing that really works for me as far as getting blood sugar levels down, getting insulin resistance down.
Yeah.
I never really had a full understanding as to why, but then somebody said, hey, you should read this. This was, 8 months ago. And they said, this is why strongman works for you, but powerlifting doesn't work for you.
Yeah.
There's a protein receptor in skeletal muscle and cardiac muscle, but it's much harder to activate in cardiac muscle, called the GLUT4 receptor. When you are functioning at, I think it's like 85 to 90% of what your body is capable of doing, and we're talking combining hard cardio with intense lifting, the contracting and expanding of muscle, and you are going full bore. You're going balls to the wall. This is the hardest you can possibly go. Those receptors come up to the surface of skeletal muscle. What those receptors are responsible for is grabbing glucose directly out of the bloodstream and throwing them into your muscles for immediate glycogen use.
Right.
That's the whole point of those receptors. So in order for me to get those levels down, I have to go balls to the wall as intense as I possibly can for at least 45 minutes to an hour. Damn. And I'll immediately see those levels come down.
Yeah.
But we're talking an intensity that most people don't have to hit in order to get those numbers down.
Right. So generally speaking in life, yes, you can do something to do that.
Yes.
I mean, even if it's whatever. I mean, people have logs, cars, gyms, things, walk and go let the dog drag you around the block a bunch.
Right.
Because obviously your 80% is very different than most other people's 80%.
Yep.
And we're just arbitrarily saying 80%.
Yeah, that'll work.
However that one is. But for you, that's not something you can do in a contest. Because then obviously you're going to destroy
exactly
all your actual events by trying to burn off this.
Yep.
So I mean, you're just kind of what the hell do you do? I mean,
you do what you can, and that's why.
Do you meditate for 2 hours before the event? Do you? I mean,
I try to stay calm as much as I can, but once you step onto the field, once you start getting into this is the equipment we're using, you start seeing the stones, you start seeing the weights, you start seeing the size of the dudes that you're competing against. Yeah. These 6'10" freaking behemoths. Yeah. And it's there's something to be said for the fact that strongman is not drug tested. I mean I'm just gonna throw that out there, but
it isn't.
Some of these dudes that I see when I step onto that field is like, holy crap, dude.
And now so people can get a perspective. How tall are you?
I'm 6 foot.
Okay, so you're 6 foot even. You're
347 pounds.
340. I was going to say 330, but okay, so just about 340. Yep. And you're competing against guys. What's the average strongman? Is like 6'7"?
When you're talking, when you start getting into super heavyweight and super heavyweight plus, you're talking dudes who are 6'6", 6'8", that kind of
and
stuff.
that are equal your weight, if not a little more.
We're talking 350 to 400 pound guys, and these dudes are ripped.
Yeah.
Right. We're talking these guys have definition everywhere, and they've got abs.
Yeah.
They're 380 pounds, and they've got abs.
Yeah.
Like,
that's ridiculous.
God. Yeah,
man.
Exactly.
But that's just to give a perspective. I know some people watching, they're like, "Oh, well, he got dead last at the thing." I'm like, "Okay, whoa, hold on."
Exactly.
This is lifting and strongman. Weight matters.
Yes, it does.
Height and leverage matters.
Yes, and that's something a lot of people don't get. Is hey, look, weight moves weight.
Yeah.
If I've tried to cut weight before and I've hurt myself.
Yeah,
you can't. No. I mean, you can, but you see dudes like if anybody's into strongman that's watching, Big Z. Yeah. He's I think he's won World's Strongest Man 4 times or something like that, 3 or 4 times. He went a bodybuilding route like a year ago, and he stopped competing and he dropped a ton of weight, looked amazing. This guy can log press something like 480 or 500 pounds, right? He was a world record holder.
Insane.
And then he drops a bunch of weight And then suddenly he's putting up 380 pounds, 420 pounds. And then he tears his delt trying to do a yoke walk. You can't move that kind of weight without weight behind it. You just can't do it.
Yeah. And I mean, as you hear all the time too, is that, I mean, for proper hormone balance being men, you've got to be at least 10% body fat.
Exactly.
So you got guys coming in that are 6 and 7% body fat, 350 pounds. You're like, it's not going to last, man.
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
sustain.
Or that's not natural. You know, that's
well,
not. Yeah. That's enhanced half the time.
That is enhanced. Yes, it is. Okay, so your opinion on the drug use and the PEDs, not just strongman. Just so let's start as a whole blanket.
Okay.
And we're going to stay U.S. because obviously in a lot of other countries it's not illegal.
Okay. Right.
Maybe it's not moral and ethical, but we're going to start here in the U.S. where it's illegal.
Right.
What is your true core opinion on it?
I have a complicated opinion on it because everybody has their own goals. Everybody has their own, this is what I want to achieve in life. This is what I want to achieve with what I'm doing, with my lifting, whatever.
Yeah.
To start, they're not for me. Right.
Yeah.
I've got a family. I've got 3 kids. I've got a wife. I want to be around a long time, and I don't feel like dying of a heart attack at the age of 35 because I don't know what I'm doing.
With
right?
diabetes, maybe not the best thing to start introducing.
Exactly. I don't want to start, messing with that as well. I think that when you start getting into higher levels of competition, especially in something like strongman, it's almost expected. It's expected that a lot of these guys are going to be accessorizing, right? It's just
at that level you kind of have to.
You kind of have to, right? I mean, I just watched World's Strongest Man 2017. They aired it about 6 months earlier than they usually do, so I'm seeing some of the live episodes come out. And you're talking dudes who are pulling buses. You're talking about guys who are pulling jets. Lifting a 380-pound log 6, 7, 8, 9 times.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
How? Like I said, at that level, with strongman especially, what people want to see, they don't care about the steroid use. The audience, which is what pays the bills for something like World's Strongest Man with Corgenics and metrics and all that stuff. What pays the bills is lifting more weight, doing heavier stuff, doing more ridiculous things. You can't do it naturally. I've always said a dream of mine is to hit U.S. Strongest Man at some point. Not to place, not to do anything like that, but to be invited.
Yeah.
To be there in one of the heats. That would be, hey, I've peaked, man. Because that's as far as I'm willing to go. I will never hit World's Strongest. I know that for a fact, but there's limitations in my own life that hold me back from doing things like that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say who isn't using steroids, any of that stuff.
Well, I mean, partially trained eye can figure that out real quick on that stage, But, so obviously I'm going to let the haterade flow with this one.
Yep.
So my deal is here in the U.S., I don't even get to the whole argument of it's a personal choice or any of that, because I'm like, in the U.S. it's illegal. Mm-hmm. So, crap. So it's just kind of and then once you say, okay, well, it's okay to commit this crime, well, then what crime's not okay? Mm-hmm. And that's me and my own
right.
Deal going through it. And then I look at things like strongman. Mm-hmm. An overwhelming majority of the high-end contests are not U.S.-based athletes.
Correct.
Some train in the U.S., but they're not U.S.-based athletes. A lot of the contests are outside of the U.S., and so it's not illegal.
Right.
So when you remove the illegal thing, so let's say, okay, now, poof, magically, steroids are now legal.
Okay.
They're no longer a controlled substance. At that point, yeah, it's a personal choice.
I would say so, yeah.
I mean, I would be naive to say that people don't want to see 9.9 and a 9.87 100-meter sprint.
Exactly, yeah.
That people, I'd be naive to say that, people don't want to see a pitcher throwing 100 miles an hour in the World Series. Where you take the drugs away, they're going to be pitching 80, 85.
Exactly.
You're going to look at, it's going to be 12 to 15 each game of the, 7-game World Series.
Right.
So, I'd be naive to think that. But then I'm kind of like, I sit there and I battle myself. I'm like, well, the legality side of it. And then, I'm going to trickle this in real quick, because I have been fucked by the system.
Yeah.
Like, you have no idea. And off camera, I'll share a little bit of it with you,
right.
because obviously the on camera thing.
I got you.
Right. Thanks. So that's kind of where I sit. Is I'm like, well, crap is illegal. So how do you justify it?
Throwing the word illegal out is complicated for me, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm not. I don't even I'm always careful about politics, and I'm careful about things like
Oh,
that.
don't. It doesn't matter on this one.
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So to say something is illegal, a group of guys got together that have a lot of power and a lot of money, and they decided, hey, this is illegal now.
Right. I mean,
Okay,
liquor was illegal for.
Yeah,
a long
exactly.
time.
Exactly. We had
Yeah.
prohibition for a long ass time. Steroids, PEDs, even the word PED, the phrase PED, is so over generic. It's so blanket.
Yeah.
You're talking about, I mean, when you're looking at the difference between you're looking at testosterone, and then you grab something like Tren or D-ball. Those are two completely different things. You're talking about testosterone. There's a part of me that goes, it's good aminos. It helps you recover, right?
Yeah.
It's going to do things for you, but it's not a magic pill. It's not a magic shot. You don't take it and then walk up the stairs and your jeans are ripping because your hamstrings are growing at 3 inches an hour. You still have to put the work in.
Yeah.
So it's a complicated answer, and that's where I have to kind of step back and say, I don't really have an answer. I don't have an opinion, and this is where it has to be taken on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
Honestly, and some people know this, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there. I'm on TRT. I'm on testosterone replacement therapy. My testosterone levels, naturally, because I'm a diabetic with Hashimoto's disease, this is to be expected, right?
Yes.
The normal level is 830 to 1100 or something like that. When I got my blood results back, they were 120, 125, 130. And I'm like, and this was, I've been doing strongman for 6 months when I found this out. I'm like, no wonder I can't recover.
Yeah.
No wonder my lifts aren't going up. Okay, cool. So what do I do now?
And you flip it, and this is where it gets all, the legal and illegal thing gets all played. Because what you're doing is not illegal.
Exactly.
Could it be considered wrong or doing that in a sport where they call it banned? Well, then that specific sport, you couldn't do it.
Sure.
Okay. Well, you're not doing that.
Yep.
So you're not breaking the law at all.
Exactly.
So that's clearly, to me, not a problem.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is that when people find out that I'm on TRT, immediately they're like, "Oh, well, you're cheating." Well, no, that's bullshit. Because actually, I'm bringing my levels to at least where yours are at.
Yeah.
That's all that I'm doing. I'm not giving myself any kind of advantage aside from being able to control what day of the week I'm doing that.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Hang on.
Yeah, grab it. What happened?
I got a call for about 2 seconds. Hang on.
Oh, because I was like, well, because it's hooked up to your meter and everything. So I'm like, wait, what the heck is all this?
There we go. That's good.
Yeah. And so,
We still live? Yeah, we're still.
yeah, we're good. Yeah, all the other ones are going in. That doesn't, I don't think it kicks you off.
No, it doesn't. Actually, it looks like it's still live. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, you don't lose anything.
All right, cool.
So, I'm gonna have to play with that one camera in just a second. But
Okay.
we don't have to stop anything.
Go ahead.
You play with that, and this is one of the questions that comes up with drug use all the time in the world, obviously mostly in fitness and physique and things. That's where it's the most prominently discussed, openly discussed, is should that then be the standard? Is that anybody can take whatever the hell they want to take as long as they're within this range when they're tested? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I mean, that's, if you could come up with...
You know,
with
and
a way
keep
to
talking because we'll pick it up.
If you could come up with a way to say, this is what's okay for drug use, this is what's okay for PEDs, I think that would be a way to do it. I mean, we're already talking about a desensitized culture that wants to see, like you said, crazier and crazier things. Even it's not even just the sport; it's the federation. What does the federation allow? What does the federation accept? Is the federation tested? Is the federation not tested?
And that's all over the place.
Exactly. So everybody that has a lifestyle when it comes to PEDs, whether they do it, whether they don't, whether they do it all the time, whether you're Rich Piana, blasting and hanging, I mean, posting your blasts online for people to see what you're taking.
You're like, that's insane.
Yeah,
man.
exactly. Or you're a completely natural guy who's doing what he can with what he's been given. There's a place for you in sports. You just have to figure out where that is. But I think that what you said, if your levels are within a certain percentage or certain levels, then you're still allowed in. I think that would be a way to do it for sure.
I mean, I think that might be the first step.
It could be.
Yep. Very, very well could be.
Sorry, guys, we're resetting cameras and stuff.
Yeah, I'm just jumping through there. Did that light come on?
Did it? I can't tell.
There we go.
There we go.
Well, because some of these cameras, and this is just people watching, is some cameras will force you to stop at certain points in time.
Gotcha.
They'll only record so long. And so I'm like, instead of just keeping it all, this one does this one now. The hell with it. Just
Gotcha.
about every 30 minutes, I start stopping.
Right.
There you go. Yeah, that's it. So, and I think that might be step one, is to say, okay, we're not going to necessarily test for substances. We're just going to test for ranges of.
I think that's
hormones.
a good place to start. I think that because again, just the fact that I take testosterone in the first place, actually and this is what's crazy to me, just the fact that I take insulin in the first place actually disqualifies me from a lot of powerlifting federations.
Yeah.
They will not take type 1 diabetics because it's considered an enhancing drug. I mean, obviously, it's the most anabolic thing you can take.
Right.
So it's a complicated, and just like everything else, you try to blanket statement the thing, and you end up kicking out 20% of people who are like, well, I do this for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, and what about them? You know,
And I almost think this, and now I know this would kill the natural side of things, but just simply, just to hell with it. We know such a massive percentage of athletes that are professional and using it. I mean,
absolutely
don't even play.
Yep.
And they have to, you know, and I'm going to plug this in. I'm going to take the NBA, for example. You can't expect guys to play 83 games in 200 days.
Yep.
And travel all over the world and not get rest and forced media days and force all these other things and expect their bodies to recover. It's not going to happen.
It doesn't happen.
And I know it's going to freak people out because, you know, I have such a hard line against drug use.
Yeah.
I'm just like, we collectively, the community, has forced this onto these athletes.
Right.
We are demanding.
And that's what I'm saying.
That they score 30 points a game, make 10 rebounds, and do it night after night after night after night. I'm just picking on the NBA right now.
Yep.
So it's almost like just, all right, fuck it. We have tested and we have non-tested.
Yep.
Done.
And that's where I'm talking about the desensitized culture that we have.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you see the culture that we have now, you see one amazing thing and it's like, oh, okay, we saw that one amazing thing. The second time somebody does it, nobody cares. Yeah. Absolutely nobody cares. Unless you are hardcore into that sport and you care about numbers and records and stats and all that stuff, nobody cares. Yeah. They want to see 25 pounds heavier. They want to see 50 pounds heavier. They want to see 2 seconds shaved off that sprint. They want to see a game with a 25-point lead at the end.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. And in order to keep up with that desensitized culture, people have to do crazier and crazier things to themselves to be able to stay relevant in the first place.
Yeah.
And then the same culture that wants to see these crazy things finds out that they do it and they demonize these people.
Yeah.
Like, what do you expect?
You demanded.
Yeah, seriously. You got, you know, and part of it's because of the internet. You know, you've got access to the craziest shit you've ever seen in your life at the tip of your fingers. And you go on and you look at all these crazy things. You want genetic beasts in your face every 5 seconds. And I'm sorry, they don't exist. They're not out there, right? It's 1 out of every like million people is going to be able to do these things without some sort of enhancement.
Yeah.
So,
and then the luck of that 1 out of a million actually doing the
actually
one thing.
Doing that thing.
Yeah,
I was just thinking about that the other day.
Yeah.
Like, there are probably lumberjacks in Lithuania that have no idea what strongman is. They could be the best strongman in the world,
Hell yeah.
but they don't do that. That's not what they do. So you're asking for, like, ultimately a 1 in 10 million chance all the time.
Yeah.
And you just don't get that. So part of it, honestly, is society's fault. Part of it is the audience's fault. Actually, a large portion of it is society's fault and the audience's fault. And then you got the companies. Yeah, you got the companies who back it, who back what society's saying, and then, but in the background they're going, yeah, we know you guys take PEDs. It's okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Just don't let anybody find out.
And so one of the things is we have Twan and some stuff talking about, and Twan is a big tennis guy.
Okay.
Big tennis guy.
Gotcha.
Serena obviously came up there. I was watching it tick, so it's gone. Some of it's passed on there.
Okay.
But Serena Williams. She's dominated women's tennis. How long? Like 12 years?
Forever.
I mean,
since
I
I was
don't-
a kid.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like I'm like I know.
It feels almost like 20.
Yeah, I was like, there was like Chris Everett and then Serena, and I know there was more in between, but you know, I was just like, holy shit, what that, you know. And then there was, this is gonna sound so horrible, but I suck with names.
Okay.
The girl who grunted all the time that got
I know.
stabbed.
Yep.
That girl, when she was young, she was like kicking everybody's ass and all that kind of stuff. But then Serena came and was like, holy crap. And then her sister, Venus, was right behind her.
Yep.
And this is, I mean, obviously they're sisters. You could not get 2 different musculature body types to dominate a sport. So I don't know if Serena uses.
I don't
Seriously, I really don't know. I mean, I can make speculations, I can guess.
Right.
But even when you look at her as a kid, she was always just a big muscular kid. So, okay, maybe she's not using.
Yeah.
the main reason I bring her up, one was to get your opinion on the drug thing on that.
Mhm.
And the second was this is something that Steph and I go back and forth, not back and forth, but we're on the same side of it.
Okay.
There was this was probably 3-4 years ago, where Serena jumped down the throat of the little older Asian line judge at, I want to say it was Wimbledon, man.
Okay.
But I don't think so, because I think it was, anyway, I don't remember that. I don't remember the tournament, but it was, she went down something, she goes over it, and it was a good call, but it went against Serena.
Gotcha.
Goes over screaming at her, whatever. I'm going to something like rip your throat out and shame
right.
ball down your throat, right? So the reason I bring this up is it brings up the touchy subject of, if any other athlete, male or female, were to have done that to the small Asian old lady, what do you think would have happened? I don't even know if Serena got fined. Like, I really don't. I remember, I think, and I'll try to watch over there and see if they chime in. I don't know if she even got fined.
Okay.
But it's a conduct thing is where I'm kind of going with this.
I gotcha.
And you'll get, there's an end of the road moral with this, but yeah.
As far as what would have happened if other athletes did it,
Yeah.
I like to think of myself as a realist.
Yeah.
I like to think of myself as, there's a big facade in sports. There's a real big, nice, flowy satin curtain behind the whole thing, but there's a lot going on back there. Right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's
a multi-billion-dollar a year industry.
Exactly.
Be real.
This stuff isn't just like wholesome, whatever. I think that it would have depended on the athlete. I think that it would have depended on whether or not sponsors would still have backed whoever that person was. I think that it would have had to do with how profitable that athlete is. Yeah. And I think that's what you're getting at, right? Is when you're talking about somebody like Serena Williams, she is women's tennis. She has been women's tennis forever, and she will always be, as long as she's around, women's tennis.
Yeah. She did to women's tennis what Jordan did to basketball, what Tiger did to golf. I mean, Tiger put golf on the map. I mean, not that it wasn't a successful sport, but it became commonplace.
So what are your thoughts on Lance Armstrong now?
Okay, so I have my personal relationship with Lance and everything. That
Oh, actually, I don't know.
Yeah, so I can't get into the bits of it again.
Gotcha.
Tattoos and quiets and blah blah. But anyway, he was at, and I partook in a lot of his training and things at a studio that was about a block and a half away from his foundation in Austin.
Okay.
So there's a personal relationship, but that's kind of where it goes.
Gotcha.
Man, that's so hard, because this was about a month ago. I put a post up about this. This is the ends justify the means. And so you say, okay, well, cycling. I've known a lot of cyclists long before I knew Lance, long before anything. A guy who went through testicular cancer, similar story, that was actually a serviceman who was a cyclist and qualified for the tour and went on and became an alternate anyway. It's a cool story, but Dennis was his name. He got to the tour and became an alternate because he wouldn't use drugs. Okay. And he coming back, and now this is probably, holy crap, this was 95 maybe, 96, so this is a little ways back. He came back in, he was really depressed, and he's gonna be an alternate, still gets to go and all these things, and took his leave and did it. Was upset because he was just kind of like, I had no idea that everyone uses drugs in cycling. And I was like, no, it can't be that bad. Right. Can't be bad. He came back, showing so email was brand new back then. So showing some emails and showing some notes back and forth and showing correspondence mailing, because we used mail back then with stamps.
There was a time.
Yeah, there was a little sticky things you put in an envelope and it makes it go somewhere. Kind of.
It's a thing.
I've
heard about those in stories.
And so he was just so upset and it was literally everyone. So I mean, even before the mid-90s, people, they were all on the drugs. So is Lance bad for being on drugs in that sport? No, I can't.
And that's kind of what I'm getting at, right? I mean, that's exactly what I'm getting at, is that no, you can't just take this blanket thing and demonize everybody because you found out about it. Well, why are you demonizing them in the first place? Exactly. Because a group of people decided that these substances are harmful to the sport. There's a documentary on Netflix called Eddie Strongman. It's about Eddie Hall. Spoiler alert, he did really well at World's Strongest Man this year. And the results aren't official yet because they haven't released the last episode or anything, but he did really well. In that documentary, they have a very brief touching on PEDs. And there are other documentaries that I've watched about steroid use and stuff like that. And it's so, like I said, it's just over general, it's over generic, and people don't even fully understand why they don't like them.
Right.
They just know that they've been told that this is cheating, so you should not like it. If you consider yourself a fan of the sport, you should not like steroids. They touch on that in that documentary, and anybody who's watching this should go watch that documentary if you're interested at all in strongman.
So we'll put the link, but tell them again one time for the live.
It's called Eddie Strongman. It's on Netflix. You can, if you've got a Netflix subscription, it's streaming. I actually paid for it before it went on Netflix because I'm dope. It was a birthday present.
Okay, so taking that, right? So you have the stigma of steroids, and then some people call me a hypocrite when I say things like this, like it's okay for this person and not for this person. I flip back and forth between my personal view and then taking the reality of what the world is. So that's I'm kind of jumping back and forth in those two different opinions. Still, my opinion's illegal,
right?
But whatever. I'm going to take NFL for a split second, which also goes to boxing and combat sports and soccer and some other things too. But I'm just going to take NFL because it's big there. The concussion deal. Okay. So you have people who will demonize steroid use, right? Right. Which, if you break down and say, again, let's take that veil of illegal off, right? Then becomes a personal choice. Is it harmful to the body? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Is it shorten your life? Yes. Yep. Does it do potentially a lot of other things negative to the body? Yes. There's a little thing in professional sports called risk to benefit ratio. Right. You take the risks to get the benefit that measures out to your personal goals and aspirations, things of that nature. So why would someone demonize people for taking steroids to sustain their game? Not to necessarily get better, sustain their game. Even get better, whatever the hell. Right. But they're not going to attack people for multiple concussions, which is effectively, when you break it down, equal. It's different because you're talking about brain issues as opposed to chemical enhancements, but they're very parallel as far as what the end result is. Gotcha. Your life is diminished. The quality of life is diminished. Your life is shortened. Right. A lot of these guys with multiple concussions go through and become suicidal and get dementia. And the list just goes on and on. We saw, Junior Seau was the big one that has exposed a whole bunch of it. Why do you think people will not jump on their athlete to keep them safe from concussions and things like that? Even other injuries, spinal injuries, neck injuries, but they'll kill them for the drugs.
I think that because there's a view that the responsibility of things like concussions belongs on the league and not the athlete themselves. There's
kind of like the overabundance use of steroids falls on the consumer, not the.
Yeah, it's.
Sorry, wait.
I didn't catch anything there. I didn't hear anything. It's again, it comes back to that perception that people have of where does responsibility fall, where does accountability fall, that kind of thing. When you're talking about concussions, and you want to talk about risk to benefit ratio, and I'm just kind of working this through in my head as you pose the question. To the layman, watching an NFL athlete go in and they're getting hurt, right? They're getting hurt, and at the end of the day, they're just hurt. It's not enhancing them. It's not doing anything to better their game. They're just getting hurt. Oh, poor athlete. They this is terrible that the league has done this to them. Yeah. But then you look at something like steroids, and there's that benefit at the end, and there's that, oh, well, that's because you're taking it to do better. You're not taking it because you have to for the sport, which is incorrect. You do, right? But it's that society wants to put this big satin silk curtain on everything and say everything's pretty, everything's nice, everything's wonderful, everything's beautiful. Yeah. And it doesn't work like that. Okay, I want to really get close to the mic and say it doesn't work like that. And I think that's what it comes down to, is that with so many other things outside of sports, people want to make everything perfect and the whole white picket fence answer to things, but things are so much more complicated. Yeah. And nobody wants to look at that. Nobody wants to take the time, right? If you're a diehard Colts fan, then you're a diehard Colts fan. And how dare you do that to the players, but the second they're taking steroids, they're the devil. Yeah. I'm sorry, it's never going to be the white picket fence 1950s answer that you want it to be. It's never going to be that again. Because
and even in the 50s, they did the same shit.
Exactly, but they just didn't know what it was.
It was amphetamines, and it was other things. It
exactly,
wasn't,
exactly. Yeah. Again, strongman, Pudzianowski, the only guy to ever win 5 titles in World's Strongest Man, got fined for banned substance use. They never said what it was.
Yeah.
Right? That's the real kicker is that they never said what it was.
When did he fit? Was that early 90s? When did he finish?
It was something, yeah, it would have been early 90s, maybe very, very early 2000s. But he stopped
In the 90s,
and he went into like karate and kickboxing and all this other
Yeah.
stuff. And again, we're talking about a dude with abs, like looks like 8% body fat, 5 world's strongest man titles. And you're going to tell me he was just on coke? No.
I don't think so.
Y'all found something else, but you didn't want that on your league. You didn't want that demonizing your league, so you didn't say anything about it.
Damn.
And again, it's just, if you pull back just a little bit, just peel back that curtain just a little bit, there's so much more going on in the background. And, you know, coming back to me as an amateur athlete, I'm thankful that I'm not all starry-eyed about this stuff.
Yeah.
And one day, world strong. No, dude. No, it's not going to happen. You're never going to take the PEDs that are necessary. Yeah. You're not going to kill yourself over it. So it's not going to happen. And that's fine. I accept that. But let's be realistic, right?
I had a similar dream when I actually shifted and was like, okay, I'm going to do this bodybuilding thing, right? I had committed to myself that I would be the first natural bodybuilder ever to get on the Olympia stage.
Okay.
That lasted about 6 weeks.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much to kill that dream off.
No.
Yeah, no.
The hell? What? You start meeting more and meeting more.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen, man.
Yeah, the more I've met dudes in my sport, and you know, again, being on TRT, you know, lots of people demonize that, and this is again part of that whole it's about perspective thing, right? People want to demonize me about TRT. Nobody wants to demonize me about this vial of insulin in here.
Right.
When realistically, this is doing more for my strength than the unit of testosterone I take once a week would ever do, right?
Yeah.
This is an advantage to me. And this is something I wanted to get into, and actually this is probably the perfect time to do it. Type 1 diabetes has haunted me for a long time, right? It has been my enemy for a very long time.
12, right?
Yeah, exactly, since I was 12 years old. In strength sports, this is an advantage.
Yeah.
I have a way to monitor my blood sugar at all times and to know exactly how many carbs I'm taking in versus how many units of insulin that creates or is necessary in my body, right? When I finish training, the very first thing I do is I go out to my truck, I open up the 32-ounce, whole milk shaker that I have. I dump 2 packets of protein into it and a thing of creatine, shake it up, and I have a Nutty Buddy. I have a freaking chocolate bar, right? I know exactly what's in that.
I was like, what's a freaking Nutty Buddy?
The little peanut butter wafers, dude, they're delicious, and that's the only time I get to have them. But I pack in the carbs.
Yeah.
And I know exactly how much I'm supposed to take.
Yeah.
Right? So I take in a lot of insulin that if other people who weren't diabetic were taking it in, they're cheating. Right?
Yeah.
Why is this not? And that is. Tell me that, right?
Well, and this is the thing is people say, "Oh, well, you need insulin to live."
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
I do.
Well, if you live with a testosterone measure of 100,
Yep.
you're not going to live a very quality life. Now, I mean, you still could live to be old. I mean, it's not going to kill you early.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Obviously,
But
not
I'm going to be
taking
frail. I'm going to have
so
issues.
it's a very similar thing, and you're not using the testosterone as steroids.
Right.
It's being monitored.
Yep.
It's being tested.
Yep.
It's being
Yep.
prescribed. It's paid.
Exactly.
The list goes on and on and on. So, I don't know.
Yeah. See, that's the thing.
I think you just say the word testosterone, and you're done.
Exactly. But
You're done.
why? Nobody. 90% of people don't have a good answer for. Well, why does that scare you? Tell me what testosterone does, buddy. Well,
They don't know.
It enhances your performance. Well, how?
Yeah.
Tell me how testosterone works in the body to do that. Can you explain that to me? Well, let me get back to you. Oh, so you don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been told something and you ran with it without having a full understanding of why you think that. And that's consistently the problem with just about everybody.
I'm bleeding right now. I was like, I just took that pause because I had to, so I didn't drown in my own blood from biting my tongue.
Yeah, I saw it. I
was like, fucking the hell with this.
Yeah.
But and that's, I'm gonna jump and take this, and I'm gonna go into I've suffered from severe PTSD and things of that nature.
Right.
So I started. I'm gonna say it's 2-3 weeks ago. The CBD oil
Okay.
therapy, right?
Okay.
So obviously the CBD oil by itself without any THC is legal
Right.
anywhere.
Right.
There's no restrictions. Anything with the THC obviously then is federally illegal,
right.
but certain states
certain
are
states, yeah.
okay, and it's decriminalized even here and things of that nature. You think that's done? You think it's going to be legalized?
I think
marijuana as a whole, federally.
Slavery was eventually taken away, but it just took a long time, right?
Right. This is the one thing. Our government loves money.
Yes, they do. That's correct.
They make so much fucking money off of cigarettes.
Yep.
Like,
Absolutely. You take pot and you tax it.
yeah.
Oh my God, the amount of revenue that you're going to end up
I
with.
don't understand. And I get. I mean, I know. And this is there's people battle me all the time. So scientifically, if you abuse marijuana, as if you abuse anything, there's a lot of negative shit that can happen to you.
Sure.
And be real. And I'm not saying, hey, drugs are great, or I'm not.
Right.
I'm just saying that there's enough research. I mean, they've been fighting to legalize marijuana since the
Forever.
mid 60s. I think is when it started.
Yep.
Mid late 60s.
Earlier than that, I think.
I
Mid
think.
to late 50s.
Damn.
Yeah.
So, and they've had active research from the 50s and 60s when we started to really delve into psychology and things of that nature. So we know everything it can and can't do.
Right.
We still today don't know everything that cigarettes can do to you.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. And,
Yep. It's entirely true. Yeah.
You know, and I'm just being honest with it. What the fuck is the holdup, dude? Because the government could. There's a significant percentage of income increase for the government. And all of this BS, I'm not a fan of the Affordable Care Act, but that'd be paid for. We wouldn't be talking about where's the money going to come from.
Right.
It's done. It's there.
Why?
I don't get it.
So, a lot of these answers, I think you're going to see a recurring theme in my answers to these questions, is that there is, again, an idea that people have about marijuana. There is an idea that people have about THC. There's an idea that has been put there. It's been there for a long time. You ever seen, oh my God, what was that propaganda film that was put out in the 60s about marijuana makes people crazy?
I know it.
Somebody here is going to know it.
And I know what you're talking about. And I remember because it wasn't just marijuana; they covered other drugs too. And,
Yeah, but I remember there, she was using marijuana cigarettes. And it shows like these people just going crazy at the nightclubs, like they took LSD, and they're saying, well, this is what marijuana does to you. Well, first off, marijuana back in the 60s wasn't doing that to anybody.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was like going home and drinking a couple of beers back then. The stuff that's out now, I'm sure, is nuts.
Very
now,
different.
To preface, I don't, because I don't want to, right?
Yeah.
That's my opinion, but I think anybody who does, whatever, it's your life.
Yeah.
Politically, I'm always afraid of coming across as a libertarian, because I'm definitely not. I'm not a libertarian.
Yeah,
I'm not. I don't like to label myself as anything.
It's safer that way because there are things that I'm insanely conservative about, and there are things that I'm insanely liberal about.
Yep.
And
Same here.
It's
Same
just
here.
I'm real.
Yeah, I don't fit into a mold.
Right.
I don't fit into a mold anywhere. But the things that I believe in very, very strongly.
Yeah.
And the things that I believe in, I have a reason for believing in them.
And
right?
that's
and
the
pulling
point.
it back to the question of why is it taking so long? What's the holdup with marijuana? You have a lot of very conservative, religiously pressed people who have beliefs that were put in them at a very young age. That at this point are at the age where they are in power.
Yeah.
And those people have beliefs that until they are gone will be the beliefs that they vote off of. Right. They will be the beliefs that they push as senators. They will be the beliefs that they push as people in Washington. Until there's a more widespread acceptance of it in the generation that's in control, that's when things change. Realistically, sure, you've got outliers like Bernie Sanders and stuff who are, whatever, but until the generational concept changes and the new ones move in, that's when you're going to see the change. And that's when the holdup's going to go away, realistically.
So then really, in that theory, we're looking at 2, maybe 3 election cycles?
I would say so. Because, the people, I just turned 30.
Yeah.
You start hitting 35, you start hitting 40 years old. That's when you're really getting into power, right? You're done with your moving your way up and being an intern. You start getting elected into office and things like that. That's when you're going to see a change. Yeah. Because it takes a societal change. It takes a full concept change. I don't give a crap if you convince 5 senators that, okay, well, pot's good. Okay, cool. Well, that's 5 votes.
Yeah.
That doesn't change anything,
You need
right?
more than 10 times
exactly.
that. Yeah.
When you're coming up against these super conservative, white upper middle class raised, senators, it's there's a concept there that is just never going to go away, and you're never going to convince them otherwise. Yeah. So the concept in the people in power has to change, and that only happens when they move out and the younger ones move in. That's when you see change. Yeah, that's the only time that happens.
So we're close.
We're getting there.
We're close. I think a shitload's about to change.
Yep.
All over the place, man. That's one of the deals. That is
I'm reading this.
Yeah, no. Paris is one of the guys that I actually competed against him.
Okay.
I don't know, 10 years, 15 years ago, some kind of forever ago.
Gotcha.
He started his TRT.
Okay.
Not too long ago, and when I say not too long ago, somewhere between 5 and 8 years. My chronology is crap.
Gotcha.
As you get older, you just really don't care anymore.
Not too long in the scheme of like the Earth and the universe.
Yes,
Gotcha.
yeah. So sometime between the formation of Earth and today, he had to start his TRT, and he actually had to retire because one of the federations had told him that was illegal.
That was illegal. Yeah.
Illegal. And no, he was.
I know.
Like,
I know.
Not banned. Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
Confusing. Yeah.
And it's the stupidity that's out there with this kind of stuff is insane.
Yeah.
And again, I know you're a big proponent of natural bodybuilding, and that's awesome. I really think that that's an awesome thing to be, because you can be that and be really flitty off in the clouds, again, having this really pretty idea of what the world is, but you're not, right? You are an advocate for natural bodybuilding, but you don't have this pie in the sky, super nice idea of what the world is. You're not like, one day, if I believe in myself and with a little bit of magic, right, I'll get on that stage. You know that's not happening.
And I'll say, a lot of times people are kind of like, dude, you have the genetics, you have this, you could be fucking Mr. Olympia. I'm too old now, but obviously, in the prime of it.
Yep.
And I'm just like, it's not me.
Yeah.
Because, and obviously, is it, you go through World of Fighting, it's you.
Right.
Your skill against whatever the hell skills put in front of you.
Right.
In the military and what I had accomplished in the military and my team and things, it was what we could do, not what we could do plus. And then so that's what drove me in the natural bodybuilding. I mean, obviously, the way I was raised and everything I went through, I really do treat my body like a temple in many regards.
Gotcha.
Although I abuse the shit out of it physically, but whatever.
That's a different
it's not
story,
hypocritical
man.
or anything.
I totally understand that. Right?
So I was just always fascinated with accomplishing 100% of what I could accomplish.
Right.
And that was with active science and active, you doing the right nutrition and doing the right training and finding those tweaks that were perfect for me.
Right.
And a lot of people were just kind of like, well, you could have been so much more. And I'm like, I won 6 world championships. Like,
what do you want?
Like, oh, well, the competition's not as good. It's natural. Like the playing field was level. The whole thing was this, the whole deal. And so people are like, well, you could. And I'm like, this is the deal. And this is real. That's why I picked on NBA first. I love basketball.
Okay.
I love basketball. I'm like 5'8.5" with risers.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like in today's day and age.
Yeah,
now, if I was young today, maybe I could swing something. There's a couple of guys. But the reality of back when I was young, no way. I couldn't take a drug to be taller. I'm not going to go through 8,000 surgeries to try to lengthen my bones and stuff to be able to play the NBA. I wasn't built or designed to be an NBA player. Okay, so what do? What I'm built and designed to do. And I feel like too many people in today's day and age, this comes from the everybody gets a trophy bullshit. You can be anything you want to be. Bullshit, you can't. Sorry.
Yep.
If you're born with an 87 IQ, guess what you're not going to be?
Yeah.
And then hit it. Wait, is it going again? Yeah, it's going again.
Okay,
so we're good. Awesome.
We'll come back.
Yeah.
So, I totally forgot what I was talking about.
You're saying the bodybuilding. You said that.
Oh, yeah, the bodybuilding thing, right. So, everybody said, well, these are the hard and fast things you need to do, and you'll get there, right?
Yeah.
And even in strongman, I've encountered that. Well, I want to lose weight. Okay, well, calories in, calories out. It's super simple. Well, I'm a diabetic. I have Hashimoto's. It's not that simple for me, okay? But I was trying all those things, and I wasn't seeing the results that I wanted. And I remember I was at dinner. It was me, my wife, and our 3 kids. And I went, I think I'm done with the gym. think I'm just over it. I've been trying for 6-8 months, and I have seen zero progress. I'm over it. Yeah. And I remember the whole thing. She was eating. She put down her fork, and she went, "Why are you trying to be something you're not? Why are you trying to do something that you can't do?" I love my wife to death, right? She's a big part of the reason that I think the way that I think and I am the way that I am. And she was saying, I understand. I can't imagine trying to go through what you're going through. And she is super understanding when it comes to my diabetes and the diseases that I have. And she got on her phone. She was just kind of piddling around on it. And I was just sitting there pissed off eating my food. She went, "What about that thing where guys are like pulling trucks with their bodies and picking up giant rocks?" Right? and
that's the perfect description.
I was like, "Yeah, I think I've seen something like that, like on ESPN when I was a kid, a long time ago." She's like, "You should look into that. What's that called? I don't even know what that is." So I looked. I think I Googled, guy picking up big round rock or something like that, right? and I can't I did a little bit of research and I was like, okay, it's called strongman. We were at CC's up on the north end when this was happening. And I was like, I think it's called strongman. Yeah, that's what I'm finding. And so I typed in strongman athletes, right? And I got Brian Shaw, Hafthor Bjornsson, Eddie Hall, Big Z, and they had their stats listed just, like this: 440 pounds. 390 pounds, 420 pounds, 385 pounds. I'm like, oh shit, I can do this. What is this? I need to look into this. This is really cool. Oh my God, it's a sport. Oh my God, there's a federation. When I was a kid, I thought it was just like, I seriously thought that they just went out, found dudes at like a biker bar, and were like, "You look strong. Come pick up these rocks in Africa and we'll televise it." That's what I thought when I was like 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. And I looked into it. I started researching it. And I remember this was, again, I was still at Planet Fitness at the time. I found Metroflex Houston, which is defunct now, I think. But I got my hands on a log for overhead pressing. And I tried to pick it up.
And you're like, nope.
And I was like, oh my God. And I got it like up to here, and I looked like a dumbass.
And that was the big wooden one they had there, right? The lacquered
that was the one, that the Slater log that they had. Yeah. And I dropped it, and I looked at it, and I didn't go, "Man, that's frustrating. Forget this." I went, "I want to try that again." And I tried it again, and I tried it again, and I tried it again, and I failed like 10 times.
Yeah,
but I thought about it later, and I was like, I kept wanting to do it.
Yeah.
This is interesting. I'm not grabbing dumbbells and doing, nobody cares.
Yeah.
But hey, pick up a log with some handles on it and throw it over your head.
People are like, hey, that's
exactly. People see that stuff, and they, I can do something that, to me, for people who are in strongman, is super unimpressive, right?
Yeah.
I can deadlift. My highest deadlift right now is 575. I'm working on 600, right? To me, as an athlete, I'm going, gotta get those numbers up. You gotta hit 800 by the time you're 35, dude, or you're just not gonna be relevant. And then people hear 575 and they're like, holy shit, you can pick up what?
Yeah.
And I lose sight of that sometimes. And I think that a lot of athletes do. That to your layman, it looks so much different.
It's your reality.
Exactly. Yeah. That's my reality. But again, I was trying so hard to be something that I wasn't. This frame is not built for bodybuilding, man, and it never will be.
No, yeah.
With a completely dysfunctional, literally non-functioning thyroid, people can say what they want about that being an excuse. I don't give a shit. Nobody else that's saying it is living with it.
Yeah.
And the people that are, you know what? I've seen lots of fitness models with Hashimoto's. Never seen a fitness model with Hashimoto's and type 1 diabetes.
No.
I'm also injecting the most anabolic hormone there is into my body every day, right? So it's like, what do you want from me? And there comes a point where you stop giving a shit what people want from you, right? Strongman is my thing. That's what I do. That's my me time. And I've told my wife before, I've got a day job. People control my life. I've got a family. When I'm in the gym, that's my time.
Yeah.
That is my me time. That is like nothing else exists. I'm going to go pick up that thing that nobody else in this fucking gym or within 5 miles of here can pick up, right? That's me. That's mine. Nobody can take that away from me until I freaking injure myself.
But you still did it. Even if you injure yourself, you still did it. It's your deal.
Yeah, what's frustrating about that
and
is
that goes
the PR.
It's just fucking right. So, and that goes just so perfectly to tie that in. One of the big things I've been, posting and talking to a lot of people about is self-awareness. And that's one of the things, man. When you know who you are and what you're about, then shit, this happens.
Exactly.
And it's like, it's not bodybuilding. You were working your ass off.
Yep.
But it wasn't you.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not the hard work. It's not the hustle. It's not the grind. It's not those things, right? And people are like, oh, hustle, oh, beast mode on, beast mode. No, no, no. You can work your ass off. It's just like, I tried powerlifting.
Yeah.
I did good. Just not me.
Yeah. It's just not your thing.
Just wasn't my thing, man.
It's that idea of trying to push into something that you feel like other people want you to be. It's so dangerous for yourself. I mean, it's... We're talking politics and stuff. Let's get into religion. I'm an atheist, right?
Yeah.
I'm an agnostic atheist, and I come from a very religious background.
But join the party.
Okay, all right. So
Yeah.
it's, this is your shot. This is all you've got. You are born, you live for a little while. It's literally a blip on the cosmic calendar, right? Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody, the likelihood of anybody remembering you 100 years from now is so minuscule, right?
Right.
Nobody is going, like, you're going to be
They're
an
not,
entry
man.
in somebody's, like, this is your family history notebook, and they're going to go, oh, that's interesting, and flip the page, and then they'll completely forget about you. So in the time that you're here, why waste your time being something that other people want you to be? If you're not happy, if you're not just happy, but satisfied, if you're not comfortable in yourself, what are you even doing? Why are you wasting your time? I see all these posts about, what's the hustle? It's the grind. It's the, let's get it.
Yeah.
We got to roll every day. And Benjamins. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, that's the bullshit world of entrepreneur people, man.
Exactly. I see
that's
a lot
not
of that.
real, man.
I see a lot of
That's
that
not real.
in all sports, right?
Yeah.
It's just like the music industry. It's like so many things, it's such a facade of the way things actually are. And I bet that if you talk to those people, really get down to it, a lot of them aren't satisfied. They think that they are.
No, because they're just chasing shit that's not real.
Chester Bennington just killed himself. We lost. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm. Oh my God, guy from Soundgarden.
Oh,
Chris Cornell.
Yeah,
oh my God,
Cornell.
I cannot believe I blanked on that because he's one of my favorite artists.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we these guys had money.
Yeah.
They had money forever.
Yeah.
But it doesn't stop your demons. It doesn't stop the other things in your life. And people get so obsessed with the grind and the hustle. I hate it. And when people come to me and they're like, what do you plan on being in World's Strongest Man? What are your biggest dreams? And I tell them I want to be in.
Oh, sorry,
US
I
Strongest
forgot to
Man.
ask that.
Exactly.
What kind of question is
I want my kids to be happy.
Yeah.
I want my kids to know that their dad loves them. I want my wife to know that if she has a bad day, she can come and talk to me and know that I love her at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I want my daughter, who's 13, when she's going through something at school, know dad's going to stick up for her. Not be an ass about it, but stick up for her, right?
Maybe a little bit ass.
Maybe a little bit. I've not threatened a couple kids, but I've definitely shown my presence to a couple of kids who've given her crap. But that's happiness to me. That's what it's all about to me. And I just said something recently, and I say it a lot, about strongman. I do strongman because I have to. Yeah. I do strongman. I did a live video yesterday when I was done at the gym. It's like my hell. It's like something that I can never get away from. After this injury, I took 5 days off.
Oh, gee.
And that's unheard of for me.
I already got you.
But I'll tell you why. Why. Because every time I take more than 2 days off, those blood sugar numbers go all over the place. I started hitting 250, dropping down to 35. I hit 30. Blood sugar 30. That's like you do something or you go to the ER.
Yeah.
I hit that kind of a low while I was at work. And it's because my numbers started bouncing all over the place. As soon as I stop, my blood sugar goes everywhere. This is my curse. Strongman is something I have to do to stay healthy.
Kind of. But you enjoy it.
But I love it, right?
So that's what I'm saying. It's like the curse is like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. But there are plenty of times I don't want to do it. And this is where my I hate to say catchphrase, but it's the verbiage that I have on my Instagram. It's dedication over motivation.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I'm sitting there and I'm like, I do not want to go to the gym. I do not want to go train. I don't want to do anything right now. And a lot of people are like, oh, you just got to push past it. You just got to, you go anyway and you do what you got to do. Yes.
Yeah.
But to me, for me, it's one step more than that. I have to.
Yeah.
If I don't, I'm literally going to suffer the consequences 6 hours later of not going.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to feel bad about myself. I'm not going to be like, oh, I got fat, I ate some ice cream. No. I actually, now my blood sugar's all over the place and I feel like shit.
Yeah.
Right? My eyes are burning and I can't sleep and I'm sweaty and because my blood sugar's all over the place now. I will immediately feel that. This is, I will have to do this as long as I possibly can. It's the only way that I can extend my life for my family, for myself.
And it's strongman. You can't do it at this level. Strongman, you can do strongman, barring some sort of a joint injury.
Yep.
I mean, into your 80s, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
So it's not something you have to vacate.
I could theoretically lose a leg. There is a thing called World's Strongest
No, I
Adaptive
watched
Man.
it at the Arnold.
Okay, yeah. So there's actually a guy. He's a follower of mine, Dan. I always say his last name wrong. I think it's Nunelli or something like that.
Okay.
He is missing a leg. He has a prosthetic, and he is, I think, world's 5th strongest disabled man. He's still doing yoke walks. The dude still squats hundreds of pounds.
Insane.
You're talking about dudes with no legs.
Yeah.
They still deadlift. They sit on the bench and they pick it up down here. And
I watched them doing the Atlas stones.
Mm-hmm. In the wheelchairs, picking it up and moving it over the podium. There is no excuse, right?
That's insane. And even Bones at the gym.
Yeah. Okay.
Holy
yep.
crap. And that's, cerebral palsy.
Yep.
And
tremendous respect to him. I mean, that guy's incredible.
Did he hit 400 pounds on deadlift?
Something like that.
He did in the gym. I don't know if he did in contest, but he hit 400 anyway.
Tiny little dude, man. You wouldn't expect that kind of power to come from him, but he's dedicated to what he does.
Yeah.
And that's where I talk about it's not about motivation. Motivation is it's fleeting.
Yeah.
Motivation is so fleeting, and if you're talking about the hustle and the grind, that's motivation shit.
Yeah.
That doesn't get you anywhere. Well, you get the hustle. I have $100 already. I don't need another 100 today.
Yeah.
Well, okay, then you're not motivated.
And the hustle and the grind and all that kind of stuff, in gym terms, is what gets you ready when you're sitting on the bench, about to push 400, 500, 600 pounds.
Yep.
That's where motivation comes in.
Yep. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And then that's 2, maybe 3 seconds worth of.
I was just telling my wife yesterday. She opened up the door of my truck when I was sitting in the driveway. I did a leg day yesterday, and I was just kind of sitting there like, I don't want to get out of my truck. And I had South Texas Death Ride by the Union Underground. It was my gym playlist was still playing. And she opened the door and she was like, "What is that crap you're listening to?" And I'm like, "Oh, sorry, it's still my workout playlist," because she's used to me liking way different stuff.
Yeah.
And I was talking about how there's stuff on my gym playlist that I would never listen to outside of the gym. I was doing squats yesterday. I was super happy to hit 550 on squats yesterday. But it took slaps to the head. It took, chalk flying everywhere, turn the music up. It was like Power Man 5000 and Union Underground kind of bullshit. And I don't do that normally. But there was something that I read recently about how, strength athletes, we have to get ourselves to a point that mentally that most people don't have to get to. Yeah. You think about like if your kid was stuck under a car or something, you could do incredible things. That you have to get yourself there mentally for those max reps.
Without
the
that adrenaline pumping event.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why you got to sniff the ammonia. You got to slap yourself in the head. And you look like a little bit of an idiot, but then you get the lift. Yeah. Right. So
it works.
Yeah. And there's some dudes who lift Zen, and more power to them. Like that's awesome.
It's the same. It's the exact same damn thing.
Just in a different way.
It's a different path to the exact same result.
And I've done both. Both work for me at different points in my life. Right now, I'm just at a more energetic point in my life, and I need the energy. If there comes a time that it's more calm, a little more laid out, sure, I'll lift Zen. No problem. Yeah.
And it's just. There's a time and place for all those. I mean, it's tools.
Exactly.
It's tools and tactics and motivation. It's not the core, like you said, the discipline. And getting in there.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's a lot of people are back on.
Yeah, I saw some people hopped in.
We just jumped in. Okay, so we hit like an hour 15.
Dang. Okay.
So we got to wrap, man.
Okay. All right.
So here's the deal. Stealing this from one of the guys that I watch all the time. So everybody that comes on gets to ask a question.
Okay.
So question of the day, question of the whatever, the week. I hate to say day or week or whatever, because who the hell knows how many times I get to do this.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So it's until the next one.
Okay.
So we're going to, ask people to message in with their answer.
All right.
I'm going to do what I can to randomly select somebody who actually gives a real answer.
Okay.
Not yes, no, kind of bullshit.
Gotcha.
And contact them to send them some goodies from I'll say Glambia because it could be BSN, Optima, maybe be things
Okay.
that, you know, just something just
Right,
to kind of
right.
thanks for participating. Nothing huge, nothing that kind of stuff, but just obviously a little something, something.
Okay.
So, question of the day is anything you want to know. Does that make sense? If you want to know something about how people are reacting to you, if you want to know, ask people what you want them to do or they want you to do on your page, or
Okay.
if you have a political question or this question, anything you want, it's wide open.
All right.
But it's something that you've got, you know, hundreds to thousands of people that are watching are going to see this.
Okay.
And what kind of information do you want to get back from them?
That's a pretty big request.
Yeah, I know, man.
2 seconds.
The genie popped up. You're like,
Yeah,
fuck it, did you get
seriously.
one wish, man?
I
What
didn't know
is it?
I wasn't expecting this. I'm not ready. Can you go back in there for a minute?
Yeah.
So let me think about that. So just any question to give to them for them to answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, just to kind of give you an idea, is Ryan the other day that was on this call in.
Okay.
His deal was what are you gonna do for your own personal growth?
Okay. I want to make this real good.
Yeah,
Let me think
make
about
it
this.
real good.
I want to know from anybody who's going to write in, what is something you're doing right now that you're saying is bettering yourself that's actually hurting you? What is something that you know you need to cut out that you've been telling yourself for a long time is actually for the better, that is actually not for the better?
So you're
Think
gonna make
about
you're
it,
gonna make
think
people
hard about
think.
it, and I want people to think about this, right?
Yeah.
Because I like to think about things. I like to.
So
do
something
whatever.
that you have
something that you
self-identified that's
Yeah.
good for you that really isn't.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah,
it's
something
really-
something that you almost have to make excuses for when people ask you, well, why do you do that? Well, okay, and then you got this canned answer. What is something that you should be cutting out that you're saying is for the best? If
I
you're
like
if
that.
you're involved in something that you probably shouldn't be, now's the time. I want to
Yeah.
know what it is. Yeah,
I like that.
there you go.
I like that one. So I'm gonna splice that one out and we're gonna put it in there and,
Okay,
and do
all right,
it. Yeah,
cool.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's good. So thanks for coming on, man. That's
absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah,
I appreciate
thanks for
it.
having me. I
You
appreciate
got a
it.
lot of beard comments.
Oh, I'm sure.
Just in case you're wondering, people loving the beard. You know.
Are we
yeah.
still live on
Yeah,
everything?
so
right
it's
now?
still
Okay.
alive, man.
So I want
None of
to. I get so much shit for the beard and for the Viking thing, right? Okay, I want to be clear about something. Okay, I don't call myself a Viking. All right, TX Viking strength. So I started the beard and I braided it because it was hot.
Yeah.
When it's hanging down over your neck,
Yeah.
it's hot. So I braided it and I was like, oh my god, this is so much better, right? And then I went on Instagram, and it was in January, I think, or February, that I even started my account.
Oh,
And
damn.
I'm
Okay,
almost
yeah.
at 25K
Damn.
followers right now. And I was trying to think of a name, and I was like, it's got to have Texas in it because I'm there. How do I convey strongman without saying strongman? Well, Viking strength. Well, that totally makes sense.
I love it.
Not even thinking of the
Yeah.
fact that I've got a freaking beard braid, and people are going to mistake me for some Ragnarok looking motherfucker, right? So I did it up, and it's a thing now. People are like, "Hey, Viking." I'm like, "I'm not a Viking."
you're like,
I've had
damn
guys from with Viking heritage rip me a new one over Messenger, saying like, "How dare you call yourself Viking?" I'm like, "I am not."
You're like,
Props
I'm
to you.
playing,
I'm
man.
not. I just did it to convey the sport. I didn't even think about it, and I've caught shit for that a number of times. But it's something that I can't get rid of. It's part of the image now, and I can't. Somebody asked me, "Are you ever going to chop that off?" No,
Hell
no,
no.
I'm not.
You
I asked
can't.
about it a long time ago, and people were like,
Yeah.
"If you chop that off, I'm going to."
Yeah. You can't do it.
I can't do
So
it.
have you? I mean, have you run your genetics? Do you have any lineage?
I have
that you
no
claim?
idea. I've been wanting to for like the past year and a half. I want to know what my heritage is.
Do it.
I come from I'm a mutt, man. I'm sure.
Yeah, but then if you got a little percentage in there, you can tell the people in DM like, "Go
yeah,
fuck
exactly.
yourself." I got it,
You're
man.
fine.
I'm in.
Man, just leave me alone. Yeah.
I'm 0.7%.
So back off.
It's something,
Yeah, I
right?
know,
You
I
know,
know.
in today's day and age of marketing.
Yeah, I want to. I just haven't gotten around to doing it.
Yeah. Okay, one last stupid question. This is